the Virtual Leadership Summit Kickoff, LwD 2017, the power of you. Right, LaKendra? The power of you. We are so excited to be here. This is the 10th anniversary of LwD. Hey, and oh, by the way, my name's Donna Hall. I'm on the T-University team, and just a great team. We couldn't be more excited to bring this to you today. Just as a reminder, so the LwD framework, okay, we frame this program very specifically around you, the power of you, the extraordinary leader model. We looked at the competencies that we need development around, and we said, let's make sure we build a program around that, right? Your personal development, we want to make sure we touch on that. And obviously, we want to talk about our strategic alignment. And we're going to start with that today because we have the chairman in the house, and we're going to talk about some of our strategies for 2017. So just a reminder, 2017 VLS, we have 7 keynotes, 2 workshops, and we also listened to your feedback from last year. We have a 1-hour compliance training that is going to save you so much time. Yes, you can clap for that. You can clap for that. The other thing is your VLS recordings are going to be available on demand. They are mobile enabled via the app. So you can watch them anytime, anywhere. Okay? You asked for that. And then the last thing, you wanted some different formats. So you want panels, you want fireside chats. So we're going to start this session with a fireside chat, right? So couldn't be more excited to be here. I'm pretty sure this might be one of my top 5 moments. Please give a big round of applause to Randall Stevenson, our chairman and CEO.
Thank you. I did not think we could take the energy level up from Ken Finolio, but somehow we have managed to do that.
Well,
you're the first person at AT&T that ever got me to dance.
Was that a dance over there? Is that? I am putting that on my 2017 accomplishments.
You're in very elite company because my wife says the only other people that can get me to dance are my 2 grandsons. When they start dancing, come on, Pop, dance with me. And so I dance with them.
You do this?
Actually, no, I moved more than that with them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for dancing with me, Randall. You know, the last time we were on this stage together was about 3.5 years ago.
What were we doing?
When we were launching GigaPower. We had just launched GigaPower.
Oh, yeah, I remember this. You gave me that Austin shirt, Keep Austin Crazy
That's
shirt.
Right.
Right?
That's right. Keep Austin weird. Except
weird.
You were the one asking the questions. I kind of like this spot better.
We may not end this way, though. You know that. Yeah.
All right. So, no, we're so excited to have you here. And
Good to be here.
We're going to start. I have several questions, and then we have some crowdsourced questions also. They sent some questions in. So if we can, we're going to get those, too.
All right. Are these questions written by my people, or did you make these up yourself?
We had some partnership effort going on.
You could make my people wig out if you go off script. You know that.
Okay. Would you like for me to do that? Because you're the boss.
Go for it.
And I can do that. But why don't we start with the deal? Because everyone's super excited about what's going on. Which deal? The Time Warner one. The one that's coming up, yeah. So just to get everybody up to speed, sort of, what's going on? What are you most excited about with the Time Warner becoming part of AT&T?
Let's see what's going on. We're trying to get the rascal approved, right? And we're in the middle of that process. It has been filed with the Department of Justice, and they're doing their normal diligence. And it's an in-depth review, as you might guess. And we're telling people we still expect the thing to be approved by year end. We don't anticipate filing with the FCC. In fact, I'll be surprised if we do file with the FCC, so that should help expedite things along a bit. And so we'll get the DOJ done this year, and we got Brazil and China and the EU, those kind of approvals to get done. But we're grinding through that, and the teams are all working on it. Don't want you guys even thinking about that beyond what I just said, okay? Let David McAtee and Bob Quinn and I worry about that, and you guys just keep the wheels on this bus and keep it rolling. You start to think about the deal. And I got to tell you, when we did the deal last October, I was kind of running in place excited about how this deal was going to transform AT&T and who we are as a company. And the more I get into it, I didn't think I could get more energized, but I'm even more energized by it. And I'll tell you what energizes me most about about this is what we've seen happen with DirecTV Now. And what I mean by that is, think about what happened once we owned DirecTV. And we owned all those content relationships and so forth, and put our shoulder to the wheel and started moving, innovating around a new TV experience. And once you owned it and you had the whole experience end to end, and you just committed what we do best, and that is just go execute on a new service, a new platform, new capabilities. And what happened? Just really quickly, like in a year and a half, boom, we're up, we're going, this platform is launched, and it's just a whole different way of bringing TV to our customers. Why does that excite me so much? Think about owning the best content library on the planet. By order of magnitude, there's nobody even close to the Warner Brothers Studios content library. Think about owning HBO and all the original content in HBO, Game of Thrones and Silicon Valley and Westworld, and think about owning Turner Networks with TBS and TNT and CNN and so forth, and say, over the next year after we close this thing, we want to innovate with that content the same way we innovated with the new TV platform, DirecTV. I just think we haven't begun to really imagine what we can do for our customers as we have that kind of content library, that kind of creative talent. There are some, I mean, just wickedly smart, creative people in all of these content areas. What they're going to be able to do as they think about AT&T's distribution, I think this is going to be exciting. I mean, this is going to change who we are as a company. You know, we're a $160, $170 billion business. Time Warner's a $30 billion business. You say, well, it's, in relative size, it's not that big. How can it be so transformative? This will be transformative. It's going to take us into new areas that it would have taken us forever to get there without this type of acquisition and this type of deal. So I get really, really energized by that. Then I get even more energized as I think about the opportunity for just a new advertising business. And to kind of put this into perspective, as you look at DirecTV and UVerse, we measure our advertising opportunity by the number of impressions that are available to put ads into. And at AT&T with DirecTV, we have 170 billion of these impressions where we can put ads, right? That's a lot. Time Warner brings another 750 billion impressions, okay? Think about having the data that we have and what we know about our customers and how we can begin to deliver ads to our customers that are tailored to what their interests are and what they like to see. And so you put all that together, it just really changes who we are becoming as a company. I hope you can tell. I'm energized.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell. So I'm really curious. I'm sure everybody would be. I mean, Time Warner and everything. I mean, we have some experience. We were a phone company and a wireless company. Now we're going to be an entertainment company. And as we think about skilling up, like, what are you doing to skill yourself up? It has to be, I mean, I've heard you talk about just even the movie industry and release schedules. Like, what are you doing with how are you doing that? Skilling yourself up. I mean, it's a lot of new information.
So it is nonstop reading. I have a lot of people around me that are doing nonstop learning and then bringing to me and grinding me on nonstop learning. I am spending an exceedingly great deal of time with people in the new world where we are moving. And so spending a lot of time around new people, different kind of people, and I'm learning from them. And believe it or not, when my phone rings, it's different people calling me than it used to be calling me, right? And so I'm getting many opportunities to surround myself and be involved and engaged with people who are in this industry who I am learning from. You've probably heard me talk before about one of the most important proposals, recommendations I could give to somebody as you're thinking about developing yourself and your own skills and your own capabilities is make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are really different than you. That's not a natural thing to do, by the way. And one of my board members has a saying that I love. He said, I never learned something new from people I agree with. Think about that for a moment, okay? And so I have habitually surrounded myself with people who come from different areas, different business models, different perspectives, different political viewpoints. And I discipline myself to engage with these people, and I find opportunities to get them together, whether it's a round of golf with 3 or 4 of them or it's a dinner at my house. I'm always trying to engage with these people. And by the way, these opportunities has been the foundation of how we've rebuilt the AT&T board of directors. These people now serve on the AT&T board, and these are people that don't always agree with me, okay? These are people that push me. I'm now doing this in a lot of the new areas that we're moving into. I've obviously done this a lot in the world of tech, but I'm now doing it a lot with media and entertainment folks and engaging at length. And when I'm with them and we're having dinner or we're playing golf, it's an opportunity to quiz, question, ask. And I always try to say, draw out, don't give out, all right? So I'm always trying to draw them out. It's just the way I learn and how I kind of absorb new information and new capabilities. I encourage everybody to do that.
That's awesome. So this integration, this mergers, we've gone through a lot of, you and I have both been in the company a long time, and we're very used to merger integration work. And tell us how this one's different.
So pick whichever merger we've done over the last 25 years, any of them that are large-scale mergers, there was a similar formula. And the formula was that they tended to be horizontal mergers in nature, meaning that they were in largely the same businesses that we were in. So pick one, AT&T Wireless, right? With AT&T Wireless, we put singular with AT&T Wireless. We had a lot of redundant cell sites. We had redundant distribution. We had a lot of redundant functions. And so we were able to go in and we could extract a lot of cost out of the business. And then we could go take a lot of the costs that were extracted out of the business and turn around and reinvest it into replatforming the business. So AT&T Wireless is a classic example. Did that deal 2004, 2005, and it generated billions of dollars of synergies, which a lot of that money we turned around and reinvested into what? Into the mobile internet. You remember that time frame? We started investing hard into 3G, and then as we began investing, we said, what's going to use the mobile internet? And then the iPhone came along, and we invested a lot of that money that we generated out of AT&T Wireless into deploying the iPhone and selling the iPhone and putting the iPhone on this platform, and we built a mobile internet business. Boom, all right? Just by putting 2 companies together, extracting synergies. We did the same thing with AT&T. When we acquired AT&T, that was a company that was largely overlapping with a lot of the same things that we do, and it generated a lot of these cost synergies again. What did we do with a lot of those synergies? We literally replaced the IP backbone that AT&T was using to deliver to this global Fortune, all the Fortune 1000 companies were their customers. Rebuilt the IP backbone. We reinvested in the VPN product set. We reinvested in the distribution channel. And now that business is what? It is the top distribution platform for our mobility business. And I can go on, but generate cost savings, turn around and invest those cost savings back into the business to re-platform it, regrow it, and just take off into a different place. DirecTV, I just told you about what we did with DirecTV. It stood up DirecTV Now. Generated big cost synergies, reinvested in DirecTV Now. What I would tell you is each of these have given us more and more conviction that we can re-platform a business. Most of these businesses that we've acquired were mature. They were somewhat mature in nature. But we turned around, reinvested, and put them into a new platform and a new growth profile. Here's where Time Warner's different. There aren't the big cost synergies from this one. There aren't a lot of redundant things that we do. It's a vertical integration. The businesses don't fit like this. They kind of fit like this, okay? One stacks on top of the other. So there aren't a lot of cost synergies that are going to drive earnings over the next 3 years. So what do we got to do? We have to be confident that we can run this same play of reinvesting in a business to re-platform it. Think about Time Warner into a world of digital, into a world of mobile, and reorienting their content and their advertising to a world of mobile and digital. Do we think we can run that play and execute that play without the big cost synergies? That's the difference, okay? There aren't these big overlaps. It is vertical in nature. You've heard us talk about that a lot. It is vertical. There's no overlaps. And so that's what's unique here. We think we've designed a transaction and an acquisition that even without these merger synergies, these cost synergies that we generally extract, even without that, it is earnings accretive, Even without that, it is cash flow accretive, meaning it increases our cash flow. The day we close it, our cash flows will be higher. Our cash flows per share will be higher. Our dividend coverage with our owners, they love their dividend, all right? I'm a share owner. I love our dividend. And this makes our dividend even more secure, not less secure. So we think we've done something here very unique. Create a large-scale transaction that is accretive to earnings, accretive to cash flow, but doesn't have all these cost synergies that'll help us re-platform the company. We're just going to have to take it, re-platform, reinvest, and take it to a different place.
So it's going to be great. And one of the things you've talked about, there's a book called Streaming, Sharing, and Stealing. And we have the authors as part of the LwD program. But it talks about data and how the entertainment world and our world really utilizing data to make good decisions. Highly recommend the book. It's awesome. And you added a new priority this year. So improve everything with data-powered insights. Give us your thoughts about why you did that.
Data, some people say that it's the oil of the next century, right? It is the commodity that will drive the next century. And as you think about AT&T, we are rich in data. There are a few companies that have treasure troves of data like our company does. And the easiest way to think about it is our TV business. You know, we're one of the largest TV providers in the world, pay TV providers. And we have really rich information about what shows are our customers watching. Where are they when they're watching, by the way? The world is changing. They're not just watching it in the living room. What they watch upstairs in the den or what I watch in my office at home is different than what gets watched in my family room at my house. And I watch this same programming and this same content on an airplane. I watch this same content when I'm in the hotel at night on my tablet. I'm no longer watching the TV on the TV in the hotel room. I'm watching it on my tablet. And so we have this rich treasure trove of information about what our customers are watching, when they're watching it, and where they are watching it. Now, we need to be very cautious with this kind of information because some people could creep out over this, right? We would never target that to an individual. We anonymize it. That's what we call it. We anonymize. We extract it up. We say there are groups of 10 or 20 people that these 10 or 20 people, those who watch this also watch that. Those who watch this in this location also do this at that location, okay? Now, if you're an advertiser, how valuable would it be to you to know that there are groups of 20 people, not by name, we don't know their names, we don't give their names, we don't even care what their names are, but groups of 20 people who have characteristics that look like X, Y, and Z. You think advertisers are willing to pay more or less for that kind of placement of that advertising? Obviously, they'll pay a lot more. We know how much more they'll pay. It's a significant amount. In fact, I was looking at some of these numbers yesterday. $8 to $9 on average cost per impression, if you will. That's what advertisers will pay. When we get this targeted, as I just told you about, that $8 to $9 becomes $32 per impression. Right? That's impressive, isn't it? Now think about if we could develop the muscle over time. I told you that we're selling into 175 million impressions in the AT&T platform. Think about getting 8 to 9 up to 32. How many of those impressions can you get to that level? We don't know yet, all right? You can't get them all there, but can you get a lot of them to that kind of yield? You know, that would be very valuable, wouldn't it? Think about Turner, 750 billion impressions at these kind of rates. That was really significant to us as a company. And so data, why is data so important? That's one example. The other examples are, you've heard us talk about software-defined networking. And there's a new platform that John Donovan and his team are developing. It's called ONAP. And think of it as the operating system for networking of the future, okay? And then on top of that, we have some capabilities where we're going to be allowing companies to plug in to all of this. Indigo is the platform we're calling it. And there's a lot of rich data inside our network that companies would love to have. Think about if you're a company and you want to authenticate who is on the network and accessing your data at any moment in time. we have a lot of data that will help people know who is on the network, are the right people on the network, are the right people accessing our information. People will pay a lot of money for that kind of data. So using our data as a product, as a means to help our customers secure their networks and to secure their information, we think is a very powerful thing.
That's awesome. So you talked about content. Are you binge watching anything right now?
Yeah, in fact, I don't want to say because it's not one of our networks. But yes, I'm watching Game of Thrones. I'm way behind on Game of Thrones, but yes.
Okay, just
I've
wondering.
become addicted to it. My son-in-laws love this show, and I've just never been able to get into it. And so since we announced an acquisition, I thought, well, maybe I'll watch this.
Is that
and
the
I'm
one with the
addicted
little
to it.
dragons? Is that the one with the show with the dragons, the pet
There
dragons?
are some dragons
Game
on
of
it,
Thrones?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't watch shows with dragons. So, okay.
Wimp.
So that's fine. By the way, our socks match.
I like that.
So one of the other...
So do our shoes, actually.
They do, kind of. Anyway, so effortless customer experience. And as we think about the Power of You theme for LWD, because we all have the power and should be taking on improving the customer experience. So it's still a really important priority. Give us, what's the message to the team about how we're doing? And you talked about us staying focused on the business and not getting distracted by the deal. Like, give some words of advice to the team about about your expectations around focusing on the effortless customer experience.
So we're doing a lot of really exciting and interesting and fun things, right? And we are leading the charge on technology. I love what John Donovan and his team are doing in terms of virtualizing our network, software-defined networking. I love the things we're doing in terms of where we're going on 5G and air gig and these kind of capabilities. It's revolutionary, and I get really, really energized by all of that. And I love what we're doing on DirecTV Now and so forth. And I love what Thaddeus and his team are doing in terms of NetBond and security that we're selling into enterprise business solutions and so forth. But you know what? At the end of the day, 5, 10 years from now, others will be copying us. Others may even leapfrog us in some areas, and they'll have technology maybe a little better than ours for a period of time. The only thing that will separate us over time and give us a key strategic advantage so that we can sell all these other capabilities to our customers like content and so forth. The only thing that's going to distinguish us from the competition is the experience, the customer experience. What is the customer experience? And I believe the one word that we ought to always keep front of mind, that we ought to always strive for, is effortless. When our customers interact with AT&T, when they interact with one of our services, when they interact with one of our products, effortless ought to be the experience that we're after. They shouldn't even think about it. John Donovan likes to use the term that our network should be like air. People only notice it by its absence, all right? That's the right way to think about what we do, okay? When they interact, the user interfaces, if you're in the product development side, you ought to be thinking about interfaces where the customer uses that are effortless to use. When you think about accessing our network, it ought to be effortless. You shouldn't be getting no signal available, all right? It should be effortless. When you have to call one of our service reps, by the way, and you should never have to call it because just calling is not effortless. But if you have to call into one of our offices or one of our service reps, the experience should be effortless. The exchange should be effortless. Our reps should know everything about you when you get on the phone, okay? So you see where I'm going. The new product suites that Thaddeus is rolling out, network on demand type services. What is it about these? The customer isn't even interacting with us. They're provisioning their services on their own, on demand. Going into a website or into a mobile device and saying, boom, I need more bandwidth. That's an effortless experience. And so everything we do, everything we're about should be about this concept of effortless. It'll be the one differentiator that keeps us in the lead for many, many years to come. When I get a J.D. Power Award for what, like the 8th time that our customer purchasing experience in our stores is #1, that's a big deal. Because you don't get those kind of ratings if they don't think effortless when they walk in and interact with our people.
Yeah, our people I can help you with that. And taking care of the customer. The teams have done a great job, and we're going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
The other characteristic that I've heard you talk about from a leadership perspective is risk-taking. And I mean, just for me personally, 20 years ago, like, you took a big risk on me. You put me in finance.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I know.
What was I thinking?
I know. And then even the 3.5 year ago Gigapower gig, no pun intended, you took a big risk on me because I didn't know anything about fiber. Learned a lot. By the way, I don't know if you remember exactly what you told me the day you called me about that job, but you said, I need you to go to Austin and get your jersey dirty. Like, I'll never forget that, but it's really, I mean, I thought that was really, I mean, I'll never forget. We should all feel that way. Like, we are going to attack every day with enthusiasm and get our jersey dirty because we're going to win.
I love that.
Right? So.
You know where I got that term?
No, don't.
President George W. Bush, I play golf with him every now and then. And he and I were on a team playing against a couple of other guys. And he hit a really bad shot. And he said, Stevenson, I need you. Get your jersey dirty.
Well, I'll never forget that day. And you also sent me you signed the piece of my announcement and you put, get your jersey dirty. I'm like, I've got this message loud and clear. I'm going to work really hard. But talk to us about, risk taking and leaders taking risks they're willing to own. Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, this is an interesting topic. It comes up a lot of late. And it generally will come up in the context of, Randall, you say you encourage risk taking, and I did. I took a risk, and it didn't work out so well, and I got smacked around by my boss, right? I think there was a bonus, got dinged, or got put in the penalty box for a period of time, and said, so is that really rewarding risk taking? And I said, absolutely. What I don't want, what I have no interest in, is somebody who's just willing to take risks on the shareholder's dime, okay? What I mean by that is, I take risks. I took a risk on T-Mobile, if you recall. It didn't work out so well. And when the board told me, no bonus, Randall, that's a lot of money for me and my family, right? I didn't say, you told me to take risks, all right? We're playing with shareholder money. And we bet our shareholders' money when we make investments. And so I want people who are willing to take a risk, and if it doesn't work out, they're willing to, reap the consequences of the good and the bad. And guess what you learn? People who take risks and it doesn't work out, and they deal with it, and then they're back, those are the people I want in the leadership team. I was told one time, you will never succeed in a significant way until you have failed in a colossal way. Because until you have failed and you've suffered the consequences of failure, you will be scared to death of failure. But once you have failed and you suffer the consequence of failure, and maybe it was a bonus, maybe you got demoted. I was put in the penalty box by Ed Whitaker one time. I thought, I went home and told my wife, I think I'm going to be fired, right? And I got knocked down, right, and I got put into a really bad job, and 6 months later, I'm kind of back doing fun stuff again. What's the point? Look, I took a risk, and I failed there as well. Suffered the consequences, I learned, and I moved on, okay? Those are the people we're looking for. People who take a risk, get dinged, and give up. I really don't have a lot of interest in them as a leader in our company. They'll always have a place in our company. They probably have skill sets that are very valuable to us, but I don't want them in a risk-taking situation, all right? I want people who are prepared to take a calculated risk, knowing they own it. That was the word you used, and that's an important word. You own the risk when you take it. And if it works out, you should be rewarded handsomely, and if it doesn't, you should probably take a ding and get back up and go do it again, okay? Those are the people I'm looking for.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So just one other question about leaders what you look for in a leader. I mean, you're a pretty powerful dude. Like, you are. And
That's
it's
my
like,
wife that she would say
like,
no.
like, it's fixing to get bigger. But one of the things, and you've been like this as long as I've known you, you're so authentic and you're humble and you're just yourself. Like, do you have any?
How can I respond to that in a humble way?
Well,
right?
But you are, and I mean, I guess, so do you have just thoughts about, or maybe it's words of wisdom on how people can stay in check? I always say, don't get the big pants, because people relate to folks who are authentic, and we need to reverse the org chart, and the frontline teams are the VIPs, and I know you believe that really passionately. And if you just have any thoughts,
I think it's really important that all of us surround ourselves by people that are smarter than us. That does a lot to keep you humble, all right? That you have people around you, and I don't mean just at work. I mentioned this earlier. People are around you who aren't afraid to say, what are you thinking, right? Where did you get that idea? And why do you think that's a good idea? I think that's really, really important. And I also think it's really important to make sure that, I say this a lot, marry or partner well, okay? And I'm married really, really well. And I have a wife who's just totally unimpressed by me, okay? And as a result, my kids are just horribly unimpressed by me. I mean, we love each other. We're very, very close, and that's where I spend all of my time is with my family. But it's, you know, my family is a grounding experience. My mom, in Oklahoma City where she lives, they call her Ma Bell, right? And I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody come up to her and ask, aren't you proud of your son? And she always says, which one? Right? I think that's important. And I think it's important that all of us kind of keep that perspective as well.
Well, we love that about you, among many things. So I'm going to switch to, because I know you love to hear from the team. So thank you guys that participated and submitted questions and voted on some of the submissions. So I'm going to give you one from the crowdsourcing. This is from Janet. She lives in Jacksonville.
All right.
How are you thinking about the potential impact to AT&T and our employees from emerging technologies such as AI and autonomous cars?
Ooh.
That was a good one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know.
AI is such an interesting one. And by the way, I find it insightful and impressive on her part.
Yes.
Her part.
Janet.
That she put the two together, because without AI, there probably is no autonomous cars, autonomous driving, and one will drive the other. And AI is, it's got a lot of people, my peers, talking about what is the role of AI, because AI, artificial intelligence, those of you from Oklahoma may think that means something different. I was in animal husbandry at one time, and that artificial insemination is what that meant. That's true, actually. I had a class on that one time. But artificial intelligence has a lot of people talking about, you know, what are the implications of this? What are the implications to work? What are the implications to jobs and job creation over time? And by the way, what are the implications to, will machines actually get to a place where they can reason? And you know, the one question people have, will a machine ever be able to write a symphony, right? Think about this. Where can artificial intelligence go? And I happen to be one of these who says, you know what, if you went back to the early 1900s, people were saying the exact same thing at the dawning of the Industrial Revolution. Are we going to put everybody out of work? Are there going to be any jobs left in America? And of course, we know the answer to that. Yes, there were plenty of jobs in America. And in fact, because of the productivity, the wages of everybody in America progressively went up, and the urbanization of America transpired. I think AI, artificial intelligence, bots, will have the same effect. There may be periods where the job demands and the job volumes don't match. There may be periods of dislocation, and I think we as a society had better get ahead of this, because it's a big darn deal. This is why Workforce 2020 is so important to us. I believe that what we're doing with Workforce 2020 is the model for how we work through this as a country, beyond country, as a global society. There are going to have to be new tools put in society's hands that says not only what skills are needed, but what are the new jobs? What is the new work? What are the new roles, as we like to say in AT&T? If the new roles are in these kind of jobs over here, then we need to be telling society, then here's the stuff you need to know. And then here are the tools to help you know that, okay? So if we can begin to do these things, we can help society move through these kind of transitions more seamlessly, all right, without a lot of the dislocation. But AI is a really, really big one. And so think about it in the context of autonomous cars, meaning cars with no drivers. I was out in California at a company where they put me in an automobile that had no steering wheel. Now, this is weird, right? Be in an automobile without any steering wheel. And I think this can get really exciting. Now, you need a couple of things to make this a reality: artificial intelligence and really powerful wireless networks, 5G networks. And I kind of like where we sit in both regards. I don't know about you. And in fact, as you think about autonomous cars, and your time is going to be spent in the automobile without having to pay attention to the road, what are the things you will probably be doing? Consuming video, we hope, right? And if you're going to consume video, what do you need? You need premium content. And so you see where we're going with all this. I think all of this is so synergistic to a world of artificial intelligence, to a world of autonomous, not just autonomous cars. I mean, I saw a presentation Saturday on autonomous trains. I happen to sit on the board of Boeing, and I know there's a lot of work going on autonomous airliners. All right, that may creep some of you out, but this whole idea of autonomous, I think is very interesting. And autonomous cars, you know, think about this. A car, in fact, I heard Jenny Rometty talking about this just this last weekend. A car is in a dense fog, and all of a sudden the fog lifts, and right in front of the automobile is an 80-year-old man and a young woman with a child, and the car has to swerve one way or the other. A world of artificial intelligence, which way does the car swerve? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Somebody's going to be programming and helping machines make decisions like this. And we as a society are going to have to figure this out. There are liability issues, legislative issues attached to this that we're going to have to, as a society, kind of think through. And so I think this is a fascinating era, a fascinating time. I have said before, if you thought 2006 to 2015 were wild with the iPhone and the smartphone and everything that transpired on fourth-generation networks, we ain't seen nothing yet. This is about to go to places that we haven't conceived of with technology and artificial intelligence and bots. I think it's an exciting time. And as you think about all of this, ask yourself this question. A world where broad, ubiquitous connectivity is going to be core of everything. A world where virtualized software is going to be everything in terms of networking. A world where everything is going to be networked with sensors and so forth attached to it. A world of big data where big data will drive artificial intelligence and bots. And a world where you're going to have the ability to deliver premium content. If you said all of that's transpiring over the next 5 years in a massive way, can you think of any place you would rather be than AT&T? Seriously. I mean, I'm CEO of this thing, and I ask myself, if I could go be CEO anywhere in the world with what I see coming, would I pick someplace other than to be CEO other than AT&T? I'll tell you, no, I would not. I love where we sit.
I do too. I don't want to go anywhere else either.
Good, good.
I mean, even things like virtual reality. I mean, we were talking about that some this week. It's mind-blowing what's happening as you think about being in a virtual world, or having somebody that wants to be in this room and maybe they feel like they're in that chair because they're in Atlanta, but they feel like they're in that chair because of virtual reality. That's another exciting thing.
Yeah, you're seeing some things where a concert in a virtual reality world. So you have virtual reality on, you have headphones on, and you're seated in a concert, and Donna is in Atlanta, but she and I are seated next to each other at the concert. All right, think about that. This is the kind of world we're talking about, or at a basketball game or whatnot. You're there virtually with whomever it is you want to be with. I think it's an interesting place.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. So let's take a question from the audience. You good with
Okay,
that? So,
sure.
oh, push your button.
I've got it.
Okay.
All right. Hi, Randall. My name is Lee Garcia, and I currently serve as president of the Dallas chapter of Asamos. And my question is as follows. As we continue to build a high-trust environment here at AT&T, there are still a lot of tough conversations around diversity to be held, much like the one that you delivered at the ERG conference. These conversations, however, can lead to a high level of anxiety among the leaders, especially the ERG leaders, due to personal, individual fears of how they may be or will be perceived. What advice would you give leaders to overcome this anxiety to ensure that we all continue to remain vulnerable, remain open, and continue to push through these diversity discussions?
You just said it. I mean, I don't know that I could answer the question any better than you did at the end of your statement. And that is, look, as we all talked about at the ERG session last year, There is no way we can move the needle on diversity and inclusiveness, on being able to interact with each other across racial lines, across sexual orientation lines. There is no way you will move the needle if we are not interacting and having open dialogue about it. And as we said at the ERG, that's not easy, all right? It's a little bit awkward the first few times that you engage at this level of discussion. But I'll tell you from experience, after about the third time, it becomes a very natural and a very normal conversation to have. 3 or 4 years ago, I would have felt a little awkward sitting here right now talking about diversity and engaging African American people in issues of race. I would have felt awkward. Now, I have absolutely no sense of awkwardness whatsoever to have that conversation. And so I just think it's one of these things, it doesn't sound very elegant, but I think we just have to build some muscle here, all right? And you can't build muscle without doing something repetitively over and over again. And it used to scare the devil out of me to get in front of a group of audience and speak, to get in front of a big audience and speak. I mean, I would get so nervous, my mouth would be dry, you know, and it just scared me. And the way I learned to get over it is just keep doing it. Just keep putting myself in front of people, talking, keep doing it, and then pretty soon it just got, okay, well, this isn't. I think it's the same thing on engaging in conversations about racial tension, about diversity, and so forth. We just have to engage. And by the way, if your boss has the courage to sit down with you and engage on the topic, don't make it more awkward and difficult on them. Help them, look them in the eye and engage right back with them, okay? Be open about it. Be open with your situation, how you are perceiving things and so forth. And so I just think you need open, candid conversation. And the word that I like, you danced around it a little bit. I think you touched on it, you didn't say it, but just be transparent. I think we now live in a world where transparency is just required and expected, a world of social media. I mean, transparency is just, we as a company have to learn to be more transparent. We have to learn to be more transparent with our customers. And if you look at all the pricing moves that we have been making over the last couple of years, it has all been about how can we move more and more to a world of perfect transparency with our customers. We'll never quite get there. We have to keep moving towards a world of just perfect transparency, and I think our personal interactions need to constantly be moving towards that same place. It's a good question. Thank you for it.
So we're almost out of time, but I just have to tell you, so I wrote these words down about you, and transparent was, see, I really wrote that right there.
Hey,
yeah?
All right, well, good. That's a compliment.
Yeah,
I appreciate
so,
that.
Hey, listen, so we really appreciate your time. Thank you
Glad to do it.
for being humble, authentic, and transparent.
And to you.
We're so thankful for you, and thank you for being with us here today. So,
Thanks, Donna.
Randall Stevenson.
Thanks, everybody.
How awesome was that? Yeah. Goosies. Goosies. Okay, so, all right, let's see. We want to make sure we get your feedback. Oh, I got to show you guys this first. So go to att.com/tuniversity. And one of the things that you guys may not know, you used to have to be VPN'd to access the content on that website, but now all you need is your global login. You can clap for that. Yeah. But go out there and download the LwD mobile app, okay? Look, LwD is not a one-time event. It's not just about VLS. It is about leading with distinction all year round. And so you will love this app. LwD 365 is one of the tiles on the app. If you haven't gone out and checked out the LwD 365 videos, please do so. They are short bite, so 2-3 minute videos that are going to give you leadership tips. They're going to do strategy tips, personal development tips, and it posts every Monday. And you can go out to the app and check it out, play it for your teams. Okay? That's all in the app. The other thing you're going to find in the app is something that's called LwD Applied. It's like, Donna, what's LwD Applied? Well, all the learnings from LwD, we're going to be creating deeper dive content. so that if there's a topic that you like, you can actually go deeper, either yourself or within your organization. So that's LwD Applied, and you'll find all of that out on the app. The applied content will be available for you in May, but the 365 content is available right now. All right, we want to make sure we want your feedback. So if you're on the web, you're going to be getting a survey pushed out to you. If you're in the room, we have those cute little table cards with the QR code. You can scan it. Please make sure you give us feedback. Guys, thank you so much for your energy and enthusiasm. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining on the web. Thank you for being you. You have the power to lead with distinction and be awesome.